Your child is screaming on the floor of a supermarket. People are staring. Your face is hot. Your heart is pounding. And in that split second before you open your mouth, everything you say next will either de-escalate this moment or pour gasoline on it. Most parents reach for the same phrase. It is 3 words. It feels instinctive. It feels like discipline. And according to 40 years of Scandinavian parenting research, it is exactly wrong. Here is what happened when researchers in Stockholm filmed 100 parents during real tantrums. They tracked what each parent said, measured cortisol levels in the children afterward, and followed up 6 months later to see how emotional regulation had changed. The difference between the children who learned to self-regulate and those who did not came down to roughly 7 phrases their parents used in the heat of the moment. Not a complex system, not a discipline philosophy. 7 specific verbal responses that changed the neurochemistry of the tantrum itself. Let me show you what those 7 responses are, why each one works at the level of brain science, and what happens when you use all 7 together. First, you have to understand what is happening inside your child's brain during a tantrum. When a toddler becomes emotionally overwhelmed, the amygdala, the brain's threat detection center, fires like an alarm. It floods the body with cortisol and adrenaline. At the same time, the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for logic, language, and self-control, essentially goes offline. Your child is not choosing to ignore you. Their brain has temporarily lost access to the circuits that process words, reason, and consequences. This is why saying calm down or use your words or you are being ridiculous does not work. You are speaking to a part of the brain that is not listening. Swedish child psychologist Dr. Anna Sarkadi at Uppsala University published a landmark study in 2022. She found that the average American parent waits less than 2 seconds before trying to verbally intervene during a tantrum. The average Swedish parent waits 11 seconds. Those 9 seconds of silence are not passive. They are the most neurologically important moment of the entire interaction, because in those 9 seconds, you are giving the child's amygdala time to begin down-regulating on its own. You are sending a signal, without words, that says you are not afraid of their big feelings, so they do not need to be afraid either. Now here are the 7 words Scandinavian parents use after that pause. Number 1. I see you are feeling really angry right now, or frustrated, or sad, or disappointed. The exact emotion word changes, but the structure stays the same. I see you are feeling. This is what neuroscientists call affect labeling. Research from UCLA by Dr. Matthew Lieberman used brain scans to show that simply putting feelings into words reduces amygdala activation. When a parent names the emotion for a child who cannot yet name it themselves, they are literally calming the child's brain with language. Danish parenting expert Jesper Juhl called this the first gift of emotional literacy. You are not agreeing with the behavior. You are witnessing the feeling. If affect labeling is the first step, the second word is even simpler, and for many parents, it is the hardest to say because it feels like doing nothing. Number 2. I am here. That is it. 3 words. No fixing, no redirecting, no bargaining. Norwegian child psychologist Dr. Ingstedge Hedvig Montgomery describes this as the anchor phrase. During a tantrum, a child feels out of control and disconnected. The fear underneath the anger is often, my feelings are too big for anyone to handle. When you say I am here and stay physically present and calm, you disprove that fear in real time. You become the safe harbor. The child does not need to calm down to earn your presence. Your presence is what allows them to calm down. This is the opposite of timeout, which sends the message that big feelings equal isolation. Number 3 is a variation, but it targets a different fear. You are safe. When the sympathetic nervous system is activated, fight or flight, the body genuinely believes it is under threat. A toddler's tantrum is not just emotional, it is a full-body physiological event. Heart rate spikes, breathing becomes shallow, cortisol surges. Saying you are safe in a calm, steady voice is not empty reassurance. It is co-regulation in action. Your nervous system is literally speaking to theirs. Research from the University of Oslo in 2023 showed that when a calm parent stays close during a child's distress, the child's heart rate begins to synchronize with the parent's within approximately 90 seconds. The phrase "you are safe" accelerates this process. Number 4, let us breathe together. Swedish preschools teach this from age 2. It is not a punishment. It is not a consequence. It is treated as a skill, like learning to hold a spoon. When you say "let us breathe" during a tantrum and model slow, audible breathing, you are activating the parasympathetic nervous system, the calming response. Dr. Stephen Porges calls this the social engagement system. Deep breathing with a regulated adult signals to the child's vagus nerve that the threat is over. You cannot reason a child out of a tantrum, but you can breathe them out of it. Number 5 is where most Western parents stumble. I know. 2 words. The full phrase in practice: "I know this feels really hard right now," or "I know you wanted the blue cup, not the red one." Validation is not agreement. It is not giving in. It is simply acknowledging that the child's internal experience is real. Research from the Gottman Institute shows that children whose parents regularly validate their emotions develop stronger emotion regulation skills, higher self-esteem, and even better academic performance later in childhood. The instinct to jump to problem solving, "Here is why you cannot have that. Here is what we will do instead," is premature. The child's brain cannot process solutions while the amygdala is in control. Validation comes first. Solutions come much later. Number 6. This is hard. It sounds obvious, but most parents say the opposite. "It is not a big deal. You are fine. Stop crying. It is just a toy." From the child's perspective, whatever they are feeling is genuinely hard. It may not be hard to you, but to a 3-year-old whose brain has not yet developed perspective, losing the red cup is the hardest thing that has ever happened to them today. When a Danish parent says this is hard, they are not being dramatic. They are joining the child in their reality. They are saying, "I see your mountain. It is real." That moment of being seen, truly seen, is often enough to reduce the intensity of the tantrum by half. Because most tantrums are not about the thing, they are about the feeling of not being understood. And number 7, the closing phrase. We will figure it out together. Norwegian parents use a version of this. Vi finner ut av det sammen. It shifts the dynamic from parent versus child to parent and child against the problem. You are no longer the enforcer. You are the ally. This is the phrase that builds what psychologists call secure attachment. The child learns that even when things go wrong, the relationship is not threatened. The bond is bigger than the behavior. Here is what happens when you use all 7 in sequence. Let me walk you through a real scenario. Your 3-year-old is melting down because you cut their sandwich into triangles instead of squares. You pause. You wait 9 to 11 seconds. You get down to their eye level. You say, "I see you are feeling really frustrated right now." You stay present. "I am here." You add, "You are safe." You breathe slowly and audibly and say, "Let us breathe together." After a few breaths, you say, "I know you. They wanted squares, not triangles." Then, "This is hard when things are not how you expected." And then, "We will figure it out. We are a team." The tantrum that could have lasted 20 minutes lasts 3. And more importantly, your child's brain just learned something. It learned that big feelings do not destroy the relationship. It learned that calm follows chaos. It learned that words, not screaming, resolve distress. This is what Scandinavian parents discovered in the 1970s. Not a trick, not a hack, a developmental truth. When you respond to a tantrum with connection instead of correction, you are not just calming your child in the moment. You are literally building the neural pathways for emotional regulation that will serve them for a lifetime. And the research backs every word.